And hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Live Viviana live stream. And tonight's topic, top strategies to grow your career in IT. So thank you so much for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. Please make sure to introduce yourselves in the comments. Let us know what you do and join our conversation with your comments and questions. If you're new to my live streams, I'm Yana Martins, and I've recently started my journey as IT recruiter. So hence, I've started a new YouTube channel dedicated to IT career in Australia. So tonight, we're going to talk about top strategies to grow your career in IT. And Johnathan is going to share his valuable tips and techniques. Sometimes how that's some people can easily climb the ladder in the IT career, while others struggle to get noticed or get promoted. So, many people just drift in their careers going from one role to another without really finding the sense of purpose or putting the strategy in place. So in this session, Johnathan will be sharing his top strategies and techniques to help you to successfully grow your IT career. So there is a key points we're gonna concentrate today. We're gonna talk about, taking a strategic approach to the career growth. We're going to talk about networking and how it can help to grow your career, and harnessing the power of your performance review. So obviously, it's an incredibly relevant topic these days. Please make sure you tag or share it with your friends who need to hear this. So before I pass it over to Johnathan to introduce himself, I just want to quickly remind you that we're going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So to watch the replays, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, IT Career in Australia. And I'm going live there every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time, with the various experts from my network. And we're talking all the things about IT career, job search, and specifics of IT industry in Australia. So we're going to answer all your questions from all the platforms. We'll try to answer all the questions, okay? So please make sure you ask as many questions as you can, but just please stay on the topic. Yes, so we're talking about, top strategy to grow your career in IT today. So that's probably enough of me. Some people joining us today. Hello, Soraya. Hello, Pete's here. Hi, Anna and Johnathan. Good to have you. Nirakan, and I'm project management. Welcome, right. Everyone. And so it's enough of me. I just give the Johnathan a chance to introduce himself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Johnathan Maltby. I'm a career consultant, and I specialize in career management strategies and personal branding. So my focus is really helping people strategically and consciously design their careers, kind of like an architect would design a house. I help you design your career exactly the way that you want it to be. I say it's your career, your way. Instead of leaving it to chance or leaving it to the outside forces, it's about putting you in the command seat of your career. And like Yana, I before I got into career management and career coaching and running my own practice, I came from a IT and digital recruitment background as well. So I definitely know this space really well. And over the last few years, I've been really working with a lot of clients, not just in IT, but across the board, to really help them take control of their career and grow it and in a much kind of strategic way. I say, why settle for an ordinary career when you can take control of it and design to have an epic career instead? Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you, Johnathan. And yes, so I guess having a strategy is great that you stop just hoping for the best and see where where the drifting will take you. Like you can drive to Sydney through the Adelaide and still get to Sydney, but do you really need to drive through Adelaide?
Long way.
At the moment you can't really drive to Sydney.
No,
anyway, so.
Anyway.
But I guess let's start our conversation with the first strategy, and the first strategy is strategy. So
that's right. Yeah.
And I guess I just really want to now remembered one of the comments that our mutual friends said in my live stream, Michael Lambert. I'm sure, yeah, you know Michael.
Mike well, yeah.
Last time we talked with him, he gave this like a perfect question to the audience. What role would you like to retire from?
That's so really
guys,
deep. That makes you think, yeah.
Guys, whoever is listening to us now, so what role would you like to retire from? So please share with us on the comments. And I guess, Johnathan, back to you. So how we can strategically look at our careers.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing these strategies with you tonight. We'll start off with some slides here. So I think the first strategy is really taking a strategic approach and thinking strategically about your career instead of drifting from role to role, trying to find that great role. It's about stopping and thinking, what do I really want to do? Where do I want to go? What is my career goal? And then reverse engineering back from there. So the first thing I want to kind of get you to think about as part of this first strategy is, I'm going to use the analogy of a business here to get you thinking about this. And the business, if you think about how a business works, okay, a business identifies a problem and goes, okay, we know that there's a problem out there that clients face, okay? We've isolated that problem. We know that our target audience suffers from this problem. The next thing they do is, okay, so how are we going to solve this problem? And what they do is they create a product or a service that solves that problem. And then they go, okay, so what is the next thing we need to do? Well, we need to probably figure out what our brand is. What are we going to brand ourselves as part of this? And then they go, okay, so we figured out our brand. We need to figure out how we want to be perceived in the market. What do we want to be known for? Who is our target market? So they're thinking of all these strategic things of how they can start building their business. The next thing they need to go is, okay, so now we need to we've got the brand message. Now we need to go, okay, how are we going to reach our audience? So they put together some marketing campaigns, and then they create some strategies around that. And then they choose what platforms that they're going to use to reach their target audience. And then they go about managing the business, and they're strategic about the business. They don't let it fall. They're very conscious of the business's reputation and to maintain and manage that perception that they want their customers to have. And they're focused on growing all the time, because a business that doesn't grow stagnates and eventually obviously goes bankrupt. Okay, they don't maximize their potential. So where am I going with this? Where am I going with this is really about treating your career as if you were managing a business where you are the CEO. You are the CEO of your career, which means you've got to make critical business decisions of how you're going to grow and manage your career in IT. So the first thing that really around that is, and we had it on the slide a minute ago, was branding. So happy to talk about that first of all. So,
but I guess, like before you have a strategy, like my question would be, how, like, do you have any tips to decide, where do you want to move with your career? Because, like, we can't come up with a strategy if we don't know where we're going.
That's a great place to start. And this is why I think start with the space you want to play in. Think about it as your playground. Okay, where do you want to be in your career? What does that space look like? Okay, is it like, if you're in IT, is it like, okay, I want to be a business analyst, for example. In which industry do you want to be a business analyst? IT is so big. It could be, I want to be a business analyst in the public health sector, or I want to be a business analyst in the education sector, or hey, I just want to be a business analyst and I don't really care which sector I play in. But it's a really good idea to figure out what is the space you want to be in. That's the first place that you want to start off with.
And I guess, like, Soraya, first question, I would like to start my career as a business analyst, and I'm facing a difficulty of making resume, cover letter, and my LinkedIn profile to enter into Australian job market. Soraya, we're not going to talk about like resumes and cover letters, because I feel like it's like completely like a massive topic. I'll probably definitely run a separate topic about resumes and cover letters, but you can always reach out to Johnathan as well for as a Johnathan website with some of those like specific questions. But we kind of concentrate today on the bigger picture in terms of like strategy, networking, and performance review. So yeah, so I guess here's the first tip: like you want to be a business analyst. So where? Yes. So
That's
what
it.
sort of where you want to, like what sort of industry you want to be? And I guess like even from recruitment perspective, when you speak to the people have a clear um, drivers, it's so much more attractive than you speak with someone saying like, I really want to be business analysis, like in this sort of organization with
Yes.
these values and in this industry. And you kind of just like want to find this job to this person because you can see these like clear goals as well, rather than someone like, I just want a job.
Absolutely. Make it easy for the recruiter to work with you. Tell them what you are, tell them what you want. And this is like if you figured out the space that you want to play in, okay? The next thing you want to figure out is, okay, well, to be able to play in that space, I really have to and take control of my career. I've really got to understand what I am and how I'm going to position myself. And that really comes down to understanding what I call your professional identity. And your professional identity is really like, okay, what am I going to call myself? If I want to be a BA, I've got to talk like a BA. I've got to think like a BA. If I want to get into a senior management role, I need to position myself and think of myself as a senior manager. So you want to think about, okay, what am I going to call myself? That's the first thing. The second thing, and this is when I go back to my recruitment days, people who were able to articulate these things made it so much easier for me to help them find that sort of role. So you got to think, okay, I am this. I'm positioning myself as this. These are the problems that I can solve for companies. Just like that business, you want to think about what problems you can solve for organizations. The next thing you want to think about is, okay, so within my field, where do I have my greatest depth of skill and experience? So that's thinking about yourself as a specialist. The next thing you want to think about is, okay, so what are my skills and experience and areas of expertise that allow me to solve those problems? Another part that you want to think about is, what makes me valuable? And that is one of the most difficult things that a lot of people really struggle with, is understanding what their value is. And your value, you think about it this way, your value is really attached to what outcomes you can enable businesses to achieve. So you want to figure out, what part do I play in helping the business achieve its strategic outcome? And then you want to think about, okay, so I've got those kind of things figured out as part of my professional identity. I now need to build a brand message, a message that is consistent across my CV and my LinkedIn and my elevator pitch. And that's the next thing. And then once you figure that, you got to think, okay, I've got my identity, I've got my brand message. Now I need to get known. So I've got to have a visibility plan as well. So how are you going to get noticed to attract career opportunities? Because Jana, I hear this, and you probably hear this all the time. People going, I'm going out there, I'm going to find my dream job. And I always say, yeah, that's just a one-way street. You know, you're doing all the work. Why don't build your brand and have multiple dream jobs come to you instead? And that means getting visible.
And I guess it's also like, as more specific you can be, as better as well. As more
Absolutely.
you can really describe, like, that's kind of where I want to be. That's my ideal organization I want to work for. Like, as more you can narrow it down, as easy will be for people to refer you as well, and to find you. And to find you also. And I really like also, Johnathan, that you mentioned about like strengths and what's make you valuable as well. Because I guess we know ourselves so well that often we just disregard something we're good at. And it feels like, sometimes it feels like, you're not noticing your strengths as much unless you actually kind of sit down and write it down.
You're absolutely right. In fact, a lot of people only understand their strengths at a very surface level. They don't understand the gold mine that is sitting underneath that. And that's where the true power comes from, is really having a solid understanding of not just your surface level skills, but what makes you awesome. And don't let your modesty get in the way either, because modesty is the greatest killer of a career sometimes. So you want to think about being able to articulate those skills and experiences. I mean, probably when I was interviewing candidates, and you probably had this as well, when, you have a great candidate and you have this fantastic conversation in the interview, and then they walk out of the interview and they go, great person, but you know what? They were so vague about so many things. I don't know how to properly sell them into an organization, because whilst they said a lot of things, nothing was specific enough. So part of gaining control of your career and growing it is getting specific about who you are, what you do, the problems you solve for organizations, what makes you valuable, and of course, your areas of expertise.
Yeah. I think, you couldn't summarize it better. It's being quite specific and setting a direction. And I guess, look, your direction might change. No one said if you pick your career strategy for next 10 years, you have to stick to it for next 10 years. As you go, you go and tweak. But like having this direction in mind just will help you to progress so much quicker, because even if you can't run to your goal, just at least lay down and look towards it.
At least you have a goal. You got to have a goal. Let's go start with a goal. Definitely.
So anything else what you would like to add about the strategic approach to the career?
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk a little bit about perception management. So that's another key part is really understanding how you want people, or how you need people to perceive you. To grow your career, a massive part is that you need to manage, maintain, and almost influence people's perception of you. So let's say you're wanting to get into a management position. You need people to perceive you as a manager. If you want to get to that next level, you already got to be operating in your head at that level. So you got to think, how do I want to be perceived? And here's something to kind of think about as you go into your day. Is the way that you're currently being perceived at work enhancing your brand, reinforcing your brand that you want people to have of you, or detracting from it? That's the first thing. And the second question you want to think about is the way I'm being perceived at work pulling me towards my goal, or pushing me away from my goal? So that's the next thing. The last part I really want to talk about before we go on to the next strategy is really around your mindset. Okay. So your mindset can really determine how successful you're going to be in your career. And the language that you use in your own head will either sabotage your career or enable your career. And it's all about that internal dialogue. Okay. It's so vital that you get that right. Then you listen to those voices and you listen to, hey, what am I telling myself? What's my internal dialogue? Is it helping me get towards my goal, or pushing me away? So you really want to be conscious of those things. And if you want to set yourself up for success, you need to be really mindful of what actions do you need to take? What behaviors do you need to exhibit? How do you interact with other people? What experience do you create for them when they interact with you? And is that pushing you towards your goal or pulling you away from your goal? So you've got to think, what is the mindset that I need to adopt in order to be successful when growing my IT career?
And I'm glad you mentioned, all this like negative thinking to pop up into mind quite often. And we were talking about, imposter syndrome in one of our live streams with Adam. And I guess one of the most common negative thought that coming to a lot of people's minds is like, I'm not qualified enough.
Oh, I know so many people who have got so many qualifications and hasn't done anything to enhance their career. And the reason is because they're not capitalizing enough on what they've already got. They're continuously collecting more certifications. Look, in the IT industry, it's vitally important that if you're going to get into use a bit of technology, you may have to get certified, like DevOps or any of those kind of key areas. Okay. But a lot of times people go, well, I need to do a master's degree, or I need to do this. But what they do is they're not capitalizing enough on what they've already got. They don't understand how to turn that into value. But just getting back to what you said about imposter syndrome, here's the thing that I came across recently. Real imposters do not suffer from imposter syndrome because they know they're imposters. But people who are genuine feel they have imposter syndrome because they're trying to cover up for something, but they're not. It's just a feeling. It's not an actual reality. As I said, imposters know they're imposters. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, so if you're not doing a good job, you probably know that you're not doing a good job.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Like as long as again, it's all about like how you can measure it and bring the numbers to the plate.
Yeah.
So guys, who's listening to us, do you have this strategy in mind? Please share with us. Do you actually have your own strategy? Like, can you see yourself, like what you're doing with your career in the next 10 years? do you have it lined up? Like, if next day, I don't know, recruiter calling you and suggesting you a dream job, and they're asking you questions like, oh, where do you want to be in 5 years? Do you have a clear answer to this question? Because I must say, not everyone can, certainly answer this question with confidence.
Exactly. So I can talk about the other strategies if you want as well.
Yes, of course. Let's go into networking.
I'm itching to get into this one, and this is about networking with purpose. And it's like, it's not networking just for the sake of networking; it's strategic networking. So one of the things that I really teach people about and is the power of not only networking within your industry, but networking within your organization as well. And one of my favorite sayings, and I remember years ago, I used to build motorcycles in my 20s and restore bikes, and I'm passionate about motorcycles. And I remember having a chat with my mechanic, and I said to him, "You know what, mate? It's not what you know, it's who you know." And he goes, "Nah, Jonathan, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you." And I was like, "Wow, I'd never even thought about that way." Because like, you could know everybody out there, Jana, and I know you know a lot of people, but the great thing is a lot of people know you too. And that's the important thing. And even by doing these webinars and these live streams, you're helping to build your brand. You're getting known as well. You're doing all the right things. This is classic visibility strategy 101. Get known so that people can approach you. And when you're known, you're able to find those dream jobs because they'll come and find you. So one of the things that you want to do is, don't just grow your career by kind of applying for jobs online. It's about being tapped on the shoulder and being headhunted as well, because you've got a good brand, or you've been in networking extensively. They say that if someone is already in a company and refers you into a company, you're 10 times more likely to get the job than an external applicant. So that's the power of networking. So let's say that you're working in a large organization. Do not stay networking within your own team. Okay, look broader. Go and if they've got a branch overseas, start networking with your colleagues overseas as well. Because what can happen is, let's say you've got a development manager. Say you've got the dev manager, and they get a new job, but this dev manager might be in a different team to you, but it's still in the same organization, and you get to know that person and you network. And you've got to know them as well. And they move company. And then they go, right, I've got to build a new team. Who's he going to go to first? The people in the network. That's where you that's where you get tapped on the shoulder. The other thing I want to talk about is really, and a lot of people don't realize this, is being strategic about who you align yourself with. And a lot of people don't realize this, but you are judged by the company you keep. And it's a big thing of perception management. So it's all about forming strategic alliances. It's like playing chess, being strategic. What moves am I going to make that is going to help me win? And you've got to have that winning attitude if you want to grow your career. It's all about that mindset that we were talking about. So one of the things you want to think about is, who's in charge of promoting me? Is it my boss, or is it my boss's boss? And that's what you want to think about. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to raise my visibility in front of? Who do I need to align myself with? Another thing you could also think about. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and I guess it's a really good point in terms of don't just trying to networking with your own team. Like there is so many people. You can also start networking with like clients of your business as well. So there is like so much opportunities. Like it doesn't mean that that you just stuck with like if you're in the team with like 7 people and it's all people you're talking with. So you can reach out to, other members on LinkedIn easily. If someone sends you a friend request and you're working with the same organization, they probably gonna accept it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess like that's the easiest way, like the simplest way. You're not gonna just decline the connection request from the person from the same company. So that's just kind of a no-brainer to start networking with the people who are close to you. And I think also like staying in touch after, even if you left the organization, just shoot a quick message, just stay on top of people's mind.
That's right. And the other thing that you can also do is, as part of that, is look who the go-getters are in the company. You'll find that people typically sit in two camps within an organization. The people who are positive, they're the go-getters. They always get picked to work on the cool projects. And then you get the whingers and the whiners and the negative people. You know what you want to focus on who you're aligning yourself with. Align with people who are going to pull you along, not drag you back. You're hanging out with the negative crowd, the people who are always criticizing, the people who've got the can't do attitude, that's not going to do anything for your career to grow it. You've got to be strategic and look, who are the go-getters? What is their attitude? What's their mindset? How do they interact with people? What are they doing that has grown their career? And you just see people's careers going like this, and you're going, how the heck did you do that? It's because they've been strategic about it. So align yourself with the go-getters, not just in the company, but within the industry as well. Those are the people that are going to pull you along.
Definitely. And I guess like at the moment with the lockdown, LinkedIn will be the place to be.
I know.
But so we'll see when we come back to the office. But in a way, I find like it's in a way it's make it harder, but in a way it's make it easier too, because people more willing to connect online as well, because we're all in the same situation. And people, I feel like in a way people more willing to send few messages and reply because everyone is sitting in front of their computers and don't have much social life at the moment.
And that's true. That's true. Because I've seen people saying, if I have to have another conversation with my 2-year-old, it's really going to blow my mind. I'm just dying to have some more adult conversation, especially with a lot of people homeschooling right now. It's like, please let me talk to somebody else. So that's a really good idea, is to say, hey, could we connect? I'm looking to network and ask them, when you connect with these people, hey, what are you looking for in your career? How can I help you? Who do you want to be connected with? What opportunities are you looking for in your career that if I come across them, I can refer you in? Go with that networking with something to give as well.
Yeah. Rule of reciprocity. Come on. Reciprocity. Did I say
that's
it right?
It. You got it. Yes. Reciprocal. Yeah, reciprocity. Yeah, that word.
This word. Yeah, 100%. And we see it all the time. And as you mentioned before, that someone leaving an organization and maybe find a more a better place to work from some sort of perspective. Maybe they use more modern tools, so maybe the company culture is better there. Maybe they have a 4 days a week or something.
Nice.
And if you've been in touch with this person, you can also just even ask how did you go? I've noticed you changed your job. Did you do you enjoy this company? What do you find how are you finding it? And that person might say oh, look, they're actually hiring more people at the moment.
Absolutely.
You just never know.
Yeah. And that's, you don't know what opportunity, and you're not networking just for your next job, by the way. You're networking for the rest of your career, because people can come out of the woodwork 10 years from now and go, I remember working with you, or you've kept in contact with that thing. And that person, it just reminds me of another strategy as well, is the strategy of visibility. So many times people have this they call it really a good work ethic, a head down, bum up ethic. If you do good work, people will recognize it and you'll grow your career. Rubbish. That's rubbish. The head down, bum up people are the people that get overlooked. So don't be head down, bum up, doing a good job that nobody gets to find out about. You've got to make sure to grow your IT career that the right people are seeing you doing the right things. No time to be modest, especially if the right things are helping to grow the company, make them money, save them money, or you created or you've improved something that can do that. So no more head down, bum up, hoping to get noticed, because no one's going to notice. You have to make the song and dance. And that means, making sure that the right people are noticing you. Who are the movers and the shakers in the company? Okay. So that's another thing, is also get involved in the wider company as well. One of the biggest career killers that I've seen people say is, that's outside my job. That's not my job. Instead of embracing, mate, go and give it to me. Give me what you need and I'll make it happen. It's that attitude. It's looking and going, okay, how else can I exert my areas of influence in the company, especially if I got a small team. Go and approach other teams. Go and talk to other line managers. Go and align yourself and make sure that they're noticing. Remember, who's promoting you? Is it your boss or is it your boss's boss?
And I guess also, I'm glad you mentioned, about taking some responsibilities also sometimes. But I think, again, it's about being strategic about it. It doesn't mean that you going to pick up anything that comes your way and try to do it. No, it's like you clearly know where you want to be, and you will be happy to pick up those responsibilities because it's getting you closer to your end goal. Guys, actually, give us some thumbs up if it's all we're talking at the moment actually makes any sense, and if you're getting any value from the conversation, because you stayed silent for last 10 minutes. So hopefully it's because you're enjoying the conversation. So please give us thumbs up if it's any our conversation brings some value for your today's Wednesday evening. And we still taking questions if you have any questions regarding your career strategy and networking. Johnathan, is there anything else you want to add for networking, or are we going to the next strategy?
I've just thought of another one. It's not really around networking. It's more around how you apply for jobs. And a lot of times when people look at the job description, they look at the things that they haven't got, and they go, "I'm not going to apply for that job because I've only got 60% of the things here, and I don't have these things there." I always say, if you can do 100% of this is a great way to grow your career. If you can do 100% of the things on that job description, don't apply. Doesn't make sense, does it? Because you go, well, hang on a second, I can do all of those things. Exactly. You've got nothing to learn. You'll be bored within 6 months of the job. So find jobs where there's things you can't do, because that's an opportunity to grow your career. That's an opportunity to upskill. So don't look at a gap in a skill as a negative thing. Look at it and go, oh, that's excellent. That's going to give me an opportunity to learn that. So I'm going to apply for that job. All right.
100%. And I guess also in IT industry, I must say, sometimes in the position description, you have this endless list of all the tools that nice to have. But in reality, obviously the company would put all the tools they, nice to have there, because they're trying to find this, unicorn. But not that many unicorns exist. So in reality, they're looking for these top tools and top skills that they really, really need, and this main experience they're looking for. So obviously, if you only have 20% of the requirements, probably maybe not a good idea to reply. But exactly what Johnathan said, if you're at this 60% mark, you will be surprised what from that is must have and what nice to have. And unless you kind of explore it and ask questions, you wouldn't know.
That's right. I like what Michael's just come in and said. If I can do 50% and bullshit my way through the other 10%, then I'll apply. Look, it's all about storytelling. It's all about convincing. Because I remember, if you've got two candidates, okay, one's got 10 years experience, one's got 15 years experience. Imagine the guy's got 15 years experience but can't talk about it. They can't communicate their skill and their value. Meanwhile, the person with 10 years experience knows it and they can communicate it. It's the person with the strongest brand and who can communicate it that often wins the role, not necessarily the person who's got the most experience, expertise, education. Because if you can't talk about it, you can't demonstrate it, you're missing out. So you got to get fluent in you, in other words.
Soraya has a question, but how can we impress the interviewer if we won't match the skill set?
Well, you wouldn't even get to the interview if you don't match the skill set.
If we're matching 60%.
What you need to do then is be able to demonstrate your capacity to learn and how you've overcome those things in the past. So think about when you didn't know something and you learned it and you overcame that. And that's, again, about storytelling. It's yeah, great, I don't have that, but what I have got is this. Here's another thing, an interview technique. Never highlight a weakness. That's a bad strategy. Let the interviewer find the weakness. Never admit a weakness. Focus on your strengths, because that's what they're hiring for you for, your strengths, not your weaknesses. So sometimes people can be a little bit too forthcoming with information in interviews and say, well, I don't have all of these things, but never highlight that. If they ask you, then talk about it, but never alert the recruiter or the hiring manager to something you don't have. You're going in there to focus on the things that you do have instead.
Yeah, definitely not a good idea to start conversation with that. And I really like, Johnathan, that you mentioned about the learning capability. Yeah, so like most of the time, hiring manager want to see that you're willing to learn and you can learn and you know how to learn. And I guess the one of the tips will be here. You know, like sometimes I probably would ask. If it's like, especially if some junior roles, like I would ask them question about how do you go about learning another language? What's your process? You know, if you need to learn new language, what would be your process? And then you can see like some people who educated themselves before, they can give you a story straight away, like, oh, like I watched your YouTube videos and then I did this and I put it in a personal project and blah blah blah. So, and you can see that the person, like if they need to learn some new like tools and new technology, they're capable to do so. And I guess, like, again, it's about this communication skill and showing, like, if you feel like you're missing some sort of qualification or some skill, not 80%, but like 20%. So you can really show that you're capable to pick it up.
That's right. That's exactly it. And being able to, as I said, being able to show examples of where you've done that in the past. Like, hey, I didn't know Angular when I first started, coding, but I taught it myself. I learned on YouTube. I read articles. I went to Stack Overflow, all of those sort of things, and I taught myself it. I even maybe did some courses in it. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. I have the capacity to learn. That's what you want to be able to drill through. Yeah.
Michael is asking, is rhinoceros close to unicorn?
It's very true. I love that. That's great, Michael. It is very true. If you can show them enough and say, well, I haven't got this, I've got all these other things, and then being able to talk about why that's valuable, what that actually means for the organization, it can overshadow the fact that maybe you're not quite the unicorn.
Just, close enough.
That's right. That's right.
The horn is in the middle. That's the most important thing. Camille is asking, how do you deal with companies that ghost you when have completed your final stage interviews? Blacklist them.
That's sometimes it's not personal. Sometimes there's something happening behind the scenes and they're waiting for some additional information. It's not good to ghost. No, it's not a good experience for you. And you probably won't talk favorably about that company when everyone else says, hey, what do you know about XYZ? And they go, they're not good at all. They didn't create a good experience for me when I was going through the interview process. That's very damaging for their employer brand. So I think you can only go as far as you can. And then afterwards, if they're not going to contact you, they're not going to contact you, no matter how many times you push it. Move on. If they come back, great. The worst thing is where a company ghosts you, then they come back and they go, right, we're ready now. And you go, it's too late. I've already found another job, mate. You snooze, you lose.
I think if someone, and Camille have another comment, I have reached out for the feedback, although they never get back to me. I think if you're already on the final stage of the interview, they're not providing feedback, probably not because they didn't like you. It's probably nothing to do with you most of the time. It's probably something related to their process. Budget didn't get improved, or some sort of internal movements happen, or something like this. Like, I would say company who didn't give a feedback on the final stage of interview, I definitely wouldn't take it personally.
Oh, here's Michael's question. How many companies should I interview with at once? I call this feeding the beast. I've got an actual terminology for it. Feed the beast. So it's a pipeline. Okay, and this is a really good strategy for job hunting as well, is to think, okay, how long does it take from sending my CV to getting that first interview? It can sometimes be 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, usually, because sometimes the company says we're ready for people, you put candidates up, and then they sit on the candidates, and then they don't get back to them in time, and then they go 3 weeks later, okay, so and so's back from annual leave. Now they're ready to interview. So that's why I think you should be doing at least 10 to 15 applications a week. And I found if you do 10 to 15 applications a week, that will eventually translate into something later on. And then you'll start interviewing. And this amazing thing happens. You're actually building momentum. And once you've got momentum, you'll be exhausted from all the interviews. But you've got to keep feeding that beast. And this is what a biggest mistake that a lot of people have. They stop applying for jobs when they've got like three, maybe they're interviewing at 2 or 3 places. They stop interviewing. They stop applying for jobs. And let's say those opportunities that you've applied for, maybe your second, third stage interview, maybe they make you an offer and you go, no, I'm not really interested in that. I want a lot more money or whatever that is. You've lost that opportunity. That opportunity is gone now, or they pull the plug, or the job goes to somebody else. Now you have to start the whole process again. 3 weeks before you get to your next interview. Keep feeding the beast until you have signed on the dotted line. So yeah, run yourself ragged. You can always pull out of the interview process. It's better to have too many interviews, too many opportunities than too few.
Yeah, and I guess it's also you feel probably more confident and you have a few interviews on the go.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you feel like you in demand and you're the one who's choosing. So I guess having few interviews going on at the same time give you a bit more confidence in a way, like you can position yourself like I'm here to choose, not I'm trying to fit myself for the job.
And it also creates the perception, if you've got a good activity, you can actually use that to your advantage. So if you tell the recruiter, hey, I'm interviewing at X, Y, and Z right now, I'm at first stage with them, second stage with them, they can go, geez, okay, we can actually make our client hurry up, because we can tell them, hey, if you want this guy, if you like the look of them, you got to act fast, because they're interviewing at your competition right now. So
just don't make it up, guys. No, don't make it up.
That's right. That's right. Should we chat about the strategy 3? Should we move on to that one?
Yes. So we've already 40 minutes in. Yeah, let's definitely touch up on this one. So what's happening then? We actually doing performance review. Yeah. So then we're not trying to grow our career by changing the job, but we just pretty much we're in the job. We know where we're going. We want to take this next step. So so Johnathan have a few tips there. What to do with your performance review.
That's right. A lot of people worry about their performance review. They get nervous about it. They think, oh, a performance review can be a fantastic opportunity if done right and you're in control to seriously boost your career. And that some of the strategies I'm going to talk about is actually taken from a book written by a guy by the name of Scott Pape, who wrote The Barefoot Investor. And he was talking about you harnessing the power of your performance review to get more money to invest. Okay, but we're going to use it slightly different, because we want to use this and leverage of this to grow your career and progress. So most people tend to turn up to their job or their annual performance review with kind of like a vague idea of what they're going to do, but that does nothing to enhance your career. You need to go in with a strategy, and that means you need to start planning for your performance review straight after you finish the last one. So let's say you finish your last performance review. The very next day, you got to start putting your strategy for 1 year ahead, especially if you want a raise or you want a promotion. So you want to remember, you are the CEO. You're making strategic decisions about this. So it's about preparing. So the way I would suggest to go ahead and do this is grab hold of your job description. Go back, because sometimes we actually forget what's in our job description, especially if we've been in the company for a while and we're so used to doing our job, we actually forget what's there. So
sometimes when you see your position description, you will be surprised.
That's right.
You will be like, really? Is that still in my position description?
I remember many years ago realizing, after I'd been at the company for a year, that lunch breaks were only half an hour. And for a year, I've been taking an hour because I forgot to read go back to the position description and all the fine print. But anyway, so how do you go about preparing for this? So this is about the strategy. So if you go, okay, I need to know exactly what function I play in helping the business achieve its strategic vision, because I'm going to plug into that. I'm going to drill that home. Okay. So the thing is, and I'll come to Gabor's comment in a moment. But okay, so what you want to do is, how do you contribute towards the organization? How do you either make the money, save the money? How do you create a system or a process? How do you make the company better? That's the first thing. And then, because those are the things that you want to be amplifying in your performance review. Hey, I managed to save you $250,000 by streamlining this. Or, hey, I managed to get a new client on board by doing this, and that's equated to an extra 50,000. See if you can get some quantifiables, okay? Or I created a system or process which dropped the amount of processing time to half a day, or something like that. You want to be able to point to tangible things. Okay, now, this is what you want to do as well. You also want to look at your job description and going, right, these are my KPIs. I need to reverse engineer backwards. What are the activities that I need to incorporate into every single day that is going to not only help me achieve my KPI, but freaking smash them? That's what you want to do. That's how you grow. You don't do the bare minimum. You don't meet your KPIs. The top flyers, these are the guys that are smashing past their KPIs, is one of the things you want to do. So you want to create a strategy like, how am I going to hit that? What is the activity that I need to do? Break it down. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing you want to think about is, all right, I've got my performance review coming up. What am I hitting? What am I going to hit? But what am I missing out on? Where's the gaps? Do some gap analysis. Going, what am I struggling with right now? And if you are struggling with it, don't flag it to your boss 1 week before the performance review. Come a months beforehand, because they can help you, or you can get some support in that, so you know you can hit that particular one. All right. So the next thing that so that's, do that gap analysis and really kind of think about, what am I hitting? What am I missing? What am I going to smash? All right.
And I guess the question from Gabor: how do you think we need? How often do you think we need performance review? I think 12 months is way too large of a feedback cycle of performance.
That's a great question, Gabor. That's a great question. What you want to be doing is making sure that you're on performance every single day. You're on stage every single day. Everybody's watching your performance every single day. Your boss's boss. So make sure that you're feeding your boss all of your achievements and the things that you've been doing, if you have weekly meetings with them, or catch-ups, or stand-ups, or any kind of work in progress meetings. Those are the things that you want to make sure that you're amplifying as well. Don't just leave it to your once a year. Make sure that your boss sees it every single step of the way. Okay, just slip it in there. But
I guess, like, from the manager perspective, like if the Gabor is, Gabor working as an agile coach, so if he want to do some sort of performance reviews and stuff, like, do you think he can just run them more often? How does it work actually? Like, Michael's saying, for example, they do every 3 months.
Yeah. That's really good, Michael. That's right. And it also keeps the manager's finger on the pulse of what's happening with their staff, what's happening in the team as well. So maybe it's not like the big performance review that your annual. You can have like small tracking, like how you're tracking, how you're going, how are you feeling about the role? What do you think you're hitting right now? What do you think you're missing? How can I support you in hitting your targets? Okay, that's what a good manager does. They pull the team along so everybody hits their targets as well.
Yeah, Michael is mentioning, I asked a manager to put me on a performance improvement plan as I was employed at one level higher. It led other managers to also help me upskill and remove the stigma of PIP. What's a PIP, Michael?
That's actually a really good point, Michael. I'd like to talk about that a little bit, about performance improvement. One of the strategies.
Improvement. Okay. The PIP stands for performance improvement.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So here's another thing that you can do to help improve your performance as well, especially if you've got a good goal that you want to hit for your career. So one of the things you can do is try and get access to the job description of the job you're trying to get into. So if you've got a job there, all right, and you say, I want my manager's job. Let's say I want to get into a management role or something like that. I want to grow my career, or a team lead role. You need to know what you're shooting for. So go to HR manager and say, look, this is my plan. I want to grow my career here. I'm taking on any support that I can get. Is it possible, so that I know I'm doing the right things for a promotion? Can you give me access to the job description of that position that I want to get into? Now that you have that, okay, even if it's your manager's job description, all right. By the way, if they don't want to give you access to that, that means they're holding your career back, and it's probably a place where you don't want to work. If your company is stopping you from progressing, you need to seriously evaluate your position there, and because that's just going to lead to career stagnation. Okay, a good company is one that wants to promote you. They're putting everything in to help you do that. So here's the thing: have a look at that job description of the one above you, and go, right, what have I already got? What am I missing? Do that gap analysis and going, right, I'm missing these things. So to get into that job, I need to upskill in these particular areas. So it might be a bit of technology. You might have to go and do a course. Okay. Sometimes you get a training allowance. So apply for that training allowance and going, I want to learn that bit of technology because I know that I need to do that. Or I need to be sent on a management course or something like that. So go and have a look. When you go for that promotion, it should be no surprise. You don't want them to suddenly go, geez, I can't believe Jim's applying for the role. Never thought he would do it. You want to get to the point where they go, we're expecting Jim to apply for this role, or whoever it is. Okay. So find those opportunities. You want to put yourself in that position where you are the logical choice. And that means starting the year before. All right.
100%, Johnathan, because I guess, some people are just being quiet. And then position became available and they suddenly apply.
Yeah.
And sometimes everyone already surprised, like, we never thought you wanted this position.
That's it. And sometimes they never even advertise the position. You've been doing all the right things, that you got a promotion that other people just were not even privy to knowing that job even existed. And that's because you've been noticed by the right people. You've been strategic about lining that up and going, I need these people to see what I'm doing. I need to exhibit these behaviors, this mindset, this attitude. I need to stay away from the negative people in the organization. I need to align myself with the go-getters. Okay. Because another thing about growing your career is not just doing your job. Doing your job is for mediocrity. You want to smash it. You want to own that space. You don't want to just do the job. You want to command that space that you really want to be in, and be relentless in pursuing that. Become the expert in that space as well. Because like at the end of the day, no one is responsible for your career other than you. Your boss is not responsible for your career. HR manager is not responsible for your career. You're the only one responsible. It's entirely your responsibility. And as I say, like, if you're not driving your career, then you're letting someone else pull you backwards while they propel themselves forwards.
100%. Johnathan, well, I guess we're already talking for 53 minutes, but I want to ask you a bit of a cheeky question. When we're talking about performance plan and like performance review, so it's quite common, I guess, at the moment, and people apply for another job, get an offer, and then go to their boss and say, look, I got this offer. Now I want a promotion. What do you think about this strategy?
It's a ballsy strategy. It definitely is. Look, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it gives you leverage. But my question is, why is your company waiting that long to promote you, and you need to go out and scare them by saying, I'm going to move? That doesn't reflect well on the company. But sometimes it is a strategic move that you can use. Sometimes, however, it backfires. So you don't want to do that unless you actually have a solid offer from another company. And yeah, it's a bargaining chip. It's if you want that promotion, if you want that raise, you can say, hey, look, I was approached by this particular company. I've met with them a couple of times. They've made me an offer. I'm evaluating my opportunities. I'm looking. I'd love to stay at this organization, but I need to know, is there a roadmap? And if they've been saying for a while, yes, you'll get promoted. Oh, when this particular thing happens, and then it doesn't happen, and it's happened over a few times, that's a good thing to know that the writing's on the wall. And sometimes that's the thing, is seeing the writing on the wall and going, yep, it's time to make a move.
Just, make sure if you do it through recruiter, this recruiter probably not going to talk with you again.
You could burn your bridges. You could burn your bridges. That's right. And look, it's really annoying when that happens. It is really annoying when that happens, but sometimes it has to. Sometimes it's each man for themselves.
100%.
You are driving your career, and if that's what it takes to get to that next level, do it.
Yeah,
do it. Sometimes it's frowned upon, but hey, at the end of the day, as I said, no one's responsible for your career other than you. Sometimes you've got to stop playing nice if you really want to get somewhere.
Yeah, as long as long as you playing by the rules, it's that's the strategy to grow your career as well.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, so I think it's time to wrap up, guys. If you have any final questions, please pop it into comments. But we don't want to go over 1 hour, I guess, 55 minutes. So before we wrap up, I just want to quickly remind you that obviously I'm going live every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. And next week, we're going to talk with Kanika. And our topic next week is top tips to avoid burnout in IT industry. So Kanika was working in a lot of IT startups. She worked at Google. She worked recently in Amazon. So she definitely knows in and outs of IT industry. And recently she started her own startup about modern health and helping corporate people to stay healthy. And obviously she gonna share her top tips to avoid burnout in IT industry next Wednesday. So make sure to join us next Wednesday. Gabor is saying thank you, Gabor, for joining us. And Johnathan, just to put you on the spot to wrap it up today's discussion, could you please share your favorite inspirational quote with us?
My favorite. Okay. My favorite one right now is, they say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now.
Yes, 100%. 100%. So, if you're still thinking about planting the apple tree, just do it right now. And never too late. Never too late. So, and it's never too late just to reach Johnathan on his website, johnmaltby.com.au. So you can book the free conversation with Johnathan. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, thanks. So what I do is I offer what's called a discovery session with people. It's 45 minutes, and it's basically just a chat about where you're at in your career, maybe some of the challenges that you're experiencing, and have a chat about your goals. And then I can kind of see, I can get an idea of where you're at. And if there's an opportunity to potentially work together, I might be able to help you, or I might be able to point you in some direction. But yeah, it always starts off with the chat. Everything's done over Zoom now. So jump on there. I've got a Calendly app. So if you go onto the website and you book your appointment, you can actually choose the date and time.
So guys, don't be shy. No string attached. So if you join our live stream today, so definitely I would be taking advantage of this opportunity to chat with Johnathan, because you definitely can get the value from a conversation with him. Nika now saying thank you for amazing session, Johnathan and Yana. Have a great rest of the evening. Thank you, Nika.
Thanks very much.
Niraka. Thanks, Jan and Johnathan. Thank you, Camille. Thank you so much, guys. So as I said, don't forget to book conversation with Johnathan, or you can also connect with him on LinkedIn.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, grow your network. And also, if you're listening to me on YouTube, make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for a job, also send me a message. I can always have a chat. Happy to have a chat with anyone and point you in the right direction if I can. So yes, so power of networking. So as I said, again, take this opportunity to connect with Johnathan. And I guess that's it. I guess, Jonathan, is there anything else you would like to
I
add?
mean, that's it from my side. Thank you very much for having me, Jana. I've really enjoyed being able to share these strategies today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, again for joining us. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. See you.